Hi, it's Sarah from Sassy, and today I'm talking about more of the books that I read in 2017. So I finally have a book to hold up. I read Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers. I read this with the Unapologetic Romance Readers Group on Goodreads. Link down below if you're a romance fan. Go check it out. I actually found this book on Goodreads. Some girl that I randomly clicked on was talking about it, and she totally convinced me on it, and I was like, yeah, I want to read this, and it's amazing. 5 stars. So, this is based off of the book of Hosea in the Bible, and the book of Hosea is kind of a really interesting part of the New Testament. It follows Hosea, who is told by God to marry a prostitute. Also, it deals with God's wrath of the Israelites during the time where they broke the covenant, or they were about to break the covenant. It's been a while since I read Hosea. I read that in May, so my mind isn't as great in that section of the Bible as it should be. I need to brush up on it. But, anyway, don't let that steer you away if you're not a fan of Christian romances. There is a lot of God here. Like, if that will bother you, maybe pass this one up, but there were a lot of people who are not religious who read this in our romance group, and they all really enjoyed it because it has a really good story. It follows, I almost gave her, well, okay, she's born Sarah, but her name is Angel, and she finds herself in prostitution at an early age, and she lives a life of desolation and destitution as a prostitute. And one day Michael Hosea sees her, and he here's a message from God telling him to marry her. And he's like, why? Why would you tell me of all the women to marry this prostitute, especially a prostitute who hates me and does not want to leave with me? She wants to stay a prostitute. And it's just the story of Michael and Angel, and he calls Angel Mara, which, if you haven't read the book of Ruth, Mara means bitter, and so, like, that's what he calls Angel, and then eventually, it's so good. And, like, a bunch of my friends in Chi Alpha have also read this, and we talk about it together because this book is so great. I want more Christian romances that can give me these feels. I, like, flew through this, and this is a pretty big book. Like, it's not short, but, like, I flew through it. It's so much fun to just dive into, because, I know, like, the original edition had sexy times. This one doesn't have any sexy times, but, like, that's okay, because I feel like sexy times would have made this book way too long. So, yeah, I really recommend Redeeming Love, and if it interests you, you should go read it, because it was beautiful, and it made me cry, and I try to get everyone to read it, because it's a good romance, and it's not just a romance, it's a story about forgiveness and learning to overcome your past and not letting your past define you, and that the things that you have done are not who you are today. And it's so good. It's so good. Would recommend. The next book, it was a DNF, so, you know, like, I'm still cleaning out my Kindle here. Demon Kiss by H.M. War. I have a review for it. I only got to page 28 this time around. You just go read my review. Then I also had another DNF. This cleaning out my Kindle is not going, like, stunningly well. I think I've only read one really good book since I started cleaning out my Kindle, and that was Captured by Erica Stevens. And so, yeah, this has not been, like, the best way to find good books. I'm mainly just finding DNFs. But, I thought I was going to love Glamour by Penelope Fletcher, because it's a fairy book. But I DNF'd it at 18%. It made me roll my eyes. It made me uncomfortable. This random love interest meets her within, within 5 pages, and he's like, "You are mine, you're mine, you're mine." No. Just draw a line. It was uncomfortable. It was too much. It wasn't sexy. But the cover's pretty. So yeah, go read my review if you're interested in checking it out, and if you want to know if it's worth the download. I don't think it's free anymore. I think it's like 99 cents. So don't waste your 99 cents if you're not interested. The next one I read was an ARC. It is The Highland Commander by Amy Jarecki. Obviously, I was on a bit of a romance kick. I had just finished War, so I was like in the romance mood. It was just, that's what I was feeling. feeling. So the Highland Commander is really interesting because it follows two Scottish characters. It follows Lady Magdalene Keith, whose father is like a lord of one of the big Scottish castles, and he has also got ties to Parliament in London, as well as Navy Lieutenant Aidan Murray, and he's, you know, a Scotty hunkish man. I think this is Queen Mary. Yeah, it's been a while since I read this. But Queen Mary accuses her father of treason, and she's like, my dad didn't do it. And so she's trying to clear his name. It's a lot of plot. The plot focuses a lot on political intrigue, court politics, and it's super fun. And the romance is cute. I gave this one 4 stars. It was a nice romance. It's not like the best Highlander romance ever, but it was a pretty solid Highland romance, and I really recommend this, mainly because it's very historically accurate. I feel like Jarecki really did her research, so it felt like a real, like, historical setting. And also, there's battle scenes in here, so it felt very Outlander. Like, usually historical romances, you'll just be dancing in the ballroom and then, like, maybe getting groped in a carriage, and then that's it, you're married all of a sudden. This one, like, it was a little bit intense. The stakes were higher. There was almost an execution. Somebody was almost hanged, and the only problem I had with this, and why it's not rated higher than 4 stars, is because the ending was cut off very abruptly. I was not a fan of the last page. I was like, oh, what? Like, that's it? That's how you're gonna end this? Like, don't end a story on a big reveal of, oh my god, what's gonna happen after this, now that you've revealed this, and then don't give any closure. 1, the reveal was kind of obvious from the start, and 2, that's just cheap. And even though this is a historical romance, and they're not obviously, like, the best of literature, I still expect this to not be a cheap, you know, kind of cheat when it comes to writing. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers. The next one I read was also an ARC. I read this one on time, but I haven't reviewed it yet because I'm also a bad reviewer. I read Manga Classics, or is it manga? I've never said it right. Manga Classics, Great Expectations, which was originally written by Charles Dickens, and it was adapted by Stacey King and Crystal S. Chan, with art by Nakman Poon, or I probably messed that up. Anyway, I gave this one 3.25 stars. I really liked the art, the story was interesting, and it actually inspired me to actually go and pick up Great Expectations, which I'm listening to right now in audiobook. I'm actually preferring the real book much more, so I'm pretty good with giving this adaptation 3.25 stars, because I don't feel like it was the best adaptation out of the manga classics I've read. I've read The Scarlet Letter, Pride and Prejudice, and I'm pretty sure I've read some more, I just can't think of them. But yeah, it was pretty good. It just wasn't like, oh, I've also read Emma. Yeah, but Great Expectations was good, just not the best manga classic. But the story, y'all should go check that out. So yeah, these are the books that I have. Out of all of them, the one that I recommend the most is Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers. Yeah, I was on a romance kick. If romance isn't your thing, you can pass up on these books, but that's what I read. Let me know down below in the comments what you read, or if you're planning on reading any of the things, or not planning on reading those DNF'd books that I talked about. I just want to know your thoughts, and yeah, let me know down below in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye! See you soon.